Hello, my name is Melik Peter Khoury. I am the president and CEO of Unity College, America's environmental college. I am presenting on the radical transformation of Unity College, a journey that involved transforming board governance, instruction, schedules, structures, operational models, financial models, and more. I think that if the higher education industry in the United States does not transform, we are going to be looking at a catastrophe generationally that rivals that of the climate change issue of our time. There is nothing worse than an uneducated society. We have an obligation to graduate more people. We have an obligation to make sure that they are both career ready and culturally competent and environmentally aware and well-rounded. In order for all of this to happen, we have to transform the very nature of how, where, and when we deliver our core curriculum and our educational deliveries for students. There isn't a college in the country today that is not full of great ideas on how to transform and how to serve students and how to attract a different type of student than the one you're used to attracting. However, what we have found out over the last 6 years, it's not the ideas that are the issue, but the mechanisms that are in place that were never designed for scalability and change, as tradition always trumps innovation. And so I think that's a very key element that a lot of presidents struggle with. It's not the what, it's the how. I think many institutions that, especially ones that are not tier one, heavily endowed or R1, we are all having the same conversation. Why are more and more colleges closing? Why is it getting more and more difficult to bring in that incoming class? Why are retention rates not where they need to be? How can we be more scalable? How do we stay relevant? And all of those questions are asked and discussed all the time at colleges. However, we are trying to answer all of those questions using an outdated operational model. And so the presidents will hear from us is the pros and cons and lessons learned about how to transform an institution like Unity College that ended up going from an average of about 500 students for over 50 years to over 1,600 students in less than 18 months. That speaks to affordability, it speaks to accessibility, it speaks to flexibility, and it also speaks to relevance. And that is the transformation that is needed in order to sustain our industry before we become irrelevant to government, industry, and society as a whole. I think what is really fun about this conference, more than some of the other ones I've presented at or the other ones that I have attended, is that we are really focused on disruption, we're focused on change, and we're not really focused on what is the least that you can do to pass and say you're doing your best. And so that is something that I've noticed from the other sessions. We're really trying to push the envelope. And I think the time for evolution has gone. We are in time to really revolutionize and transform higher ed. And I think my fellow speakers are at least willing to engage in that conversation and put aside the concept of sacred cows that normally really hold back conferences like these from being actually useful.